There we go. I always hope I did that right. Oops.
Looks like it.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much that you are all here. This has been literally like a dream of mine. I have been someone who's totally fascinated with women's stories, or actually anybody's stories, and I've always wanted to do an interview series about stories, and also it gives me the opportunity to have women support other women in their journeys, because honestly, it's not a surprise that especially women, we've gone through like 1,000 different reinventions. And so I thought it would be really fun if we could hear the journey of other people and where they're at. And before I get started, I just want to say one more thing. The majority of the women that I'm going to use that. The majority of the women that I interview are probably going to be online entrepreneurs, but I have other people that are on the list as well. So anyways, I'm just so happy that you're all here. And we're kicking off today with Miss Julie Babin, our badass minimalist mentor. And I'm so excited that you're here, Julie. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Deb. I love you. I'm so happy to
I love you too.
Happy to support you.
I just keep moving back because there's glare on my glasses. But Julie, in talking to Julie, she has a really phenomenal story. She had worked for years as a interior decorator, and I think the beginning of how that came together and how she went into mindset is just such a great story. So I'm going to just pass that to you, Julie. How did you get started? Where are you from? And
yes,
tell us a little bit.
And thank you actually for your series. Has helped me find or realize that my story really makes sense, and it's really nice to look back on your life and see that you were always called to the same thing. So I appreciate you going through this process with me. It's been really wonderful.
Oh, excellent.
I am from San Francisco, born and raised. Me has a unique
Julie, I think you're cutting out. Sarah Jane, can you hear her? Julie, you are completely frozen. Am I frozen to you?
Oh, no.
Well, now you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're back. I don't know what happened. So if you want to start again.
Yeah, it should be okay. Hopefully it's okay. My internet looks good, but let me know. Yeah, so I am from San Francisco, and I think one of the things that I really appreciate, hopefully you guys can hear me okay now, appreciate about my parents and the upbringing I had with them is that they were always into being spiritual, and they literally have a guru in India. They go meditate with him for a month, like almost once a year. So that was just a part of my life. I think that distinguishes me from other people. I didn't have a religious background to maybe rebel against. So that set the tone for my life. My parents were into all kinds of alternative healing modalities. My dad was always an astrologer for as long as I can remember, and things like that. And so that just sort of opened the pathway for me to, I think, be attracted and interested in what I am pursuing now. But when I was a kid, or when I was a teenager, my mom introduced me to Tony Robbins.
Oh, lucky you.
I think I was about 14, and I went to his firewalking event that was in the Bay Area. And I was just 14 and 15, and he had this program where he would let teenagers work for him. And so I did work for him for free, but he pays for everything. And you go over to his 2-week-long certification program that he would hold in Hawaii. This is a long time ago. He doesn't do this program anymore. But I got to work for Tony Robbins.
Wow. What a phenomenal start.
And so it was nice just to be around him. I knew his kids, and we were sort of friends with him. We worked with him for a couple of years. And I just think that was a really interesting introduction in terms of like personal power, and all of those concepts that he talks about were just sort of felt like something that I was given at a young age. And I didn't really start pursuing it right then and there, but it was in the background of my life. Wow. And so I've had a really unique sort of path in that sense. where my father, being an astrologer, then helped me and guided me into interior design, which is basically what I've done for the past 20 years. But there was always another calling underneath all of that.
Mm-hmm. So are you doing both now? Are you doing a little bit of interior design, and then I want to hear how you...
I will always do a little bit of interior design. It's my artist in me that needs to create. And
you're obviously very creative.
Yeah, I think everyone should be creative. I really do. I believe 100% in the creative process. I love the idea of building things. And so I think part of the creative process, I will always maintain some interior design, small private clients. Mm-hmm. But I really want to encourage people to create what is in their hearts and minds to create. And that's something I'm really passionate about, is the creative process. I think really sets us alive and sets us on fire and in our purpose.
I love that.
I would love for more people to be able to do that.
So were you always in the minimalist portion of the interior design?
I learned interior design top to bottom from really, really fancy silk ball gown draperies and things of a more traditional nature, and all different styles in between. And I finally met my interior design soulmate. When I moved to New York City, I worked for a woman who practices life-enhancing minimalism.
Wow.
And that was a real shift for me and a real turning point, because up until then, we were designers, but I wanted something more. My soul wanted a deeper, more meaningful reason for why we're doing what we're doing, and creating all these spaces for people, which is great. They're incredible, and absolutely incredible, but I wanted a deeper, meaningful connection to it. So I got into life-enhancing minimalism, which is basically interior design meets feng shui and sacred geometry and color light therapy and spas and all different types of spaces.
That is really fascinating. Cool. Wow. So is there anywhere that you did this, specifically New York, San Francisco?
Yeah, most of that work was New York City and Miami Beach.
Wow.
And then I decided it was time to have my own design firm. And so that changed me. And so the way I practice design is affected by, I am a minimalist. Mm-hmm. It's 100% who I am. But that includes, warmth and inviting space. Obviously, it doesn't just mean.
Well, I think you're right. People do have that image of minimalism as being very cold, and it can be very warm. It also brings me into, I see a correlation between your mindset work and minimalism. So how did you go from interior design to mindset work?
Yeah, I think it was just always calling me in the background, and I started to realize and got turned on to, or keyed into the idea of manifesting. And I had a design class or something I took, and this woman was teaching us. And basically she taught us how to manifest. And so I manifested an apartment, and I manifested an amazing job, and I manifested another amazing job. And I learned a little bit more about manifesting. Some books, like one of my favorite books, Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks.
Sure.
That was definitely a big gateway for me, just kind of getting more into that. And then I manifested a boyfriend who I fell in love with, and that was wonderful. And so those were sort of happening in my personal life, in the background of my design career. And more that soul's call to live my purpose and to really understand that we're manifesting all day, every day, whether we like it or know it or not, it's happening. And so that has just become in the forefront of my mind of what I want to teach and help people with.
Love this. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by you're always manifesting all day long?
Yep. And so, you ladies might already be familiar with this, but anyone else who's listening, believe it or not, we're all part of the same energy that is this big universe, and the universe is unlimited abundance. It truly, truly, truly is. And I think most people just really don't believe that. You know, it's like, no way in hell this is happening to me. My life is happening to me, and your life is happening for you. You're learning what you're attracting by what's happening to you is your message from the universe saying, hey, this is where you're vibrating, so this is what you're going to get. And that's a hard pill to swallow. I mean, that's like, you know, kind of that hump that people have to get over if they're going to realize what manifesting is. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I manifested that job and that boyfriend over there, but then all this other stuff that's happening, that I'm not manifesting that. And it's like, you actually are attracting everything to you via your energy and how you're vibrating. And that's what calls those things in. So that's a hard pill for people to really accept, because it means that you're in control of everything.
So how do you switch that? I'll just ask you this one question. How would you tell someone who is so far away from that way of thinking to just begin to even shift the thinking of bringing things into them?
I like to show people, or to let them uncover for themselves the patterns that they have in their life. And once you start to see your patterns, it becomes pretty clear. And you can look at your patterns in your bank account, or you can look for patterns in your love life, or in your weight loss, you know, the way you are in your business, your relationship to time. Like, we have patterns all around our life. And once you sort of start to clue into those patterns, you can see that, okay, I do that. And then there's a story related to that pattern. And so then you kind of go back to that story, and then they kind of start to clue in. That's basically the first understanding of it.
Well, that certainly makes sense when you're talking patterns coming from interior design to mindset. That's the way I see it.
Exactly.
So what do you have going today, and where could people find you if they wanted to get a hold of you?
Yes, thank you for asking. I am on Facebook. So you can find me, Julie Babin. Send me a private message if you're interested in signing up for, well, if anyone is in San Francisco next week, I'm holding a live workshop teaching about your purpose, your mindset, and how to manifest in your business. So I'm teaching a live workshop next week. I'll probably start teaching that workshop online. So I'll be letting you.
Fabulous. Yeah.
If anyone's interested, they can message me. And I am taking on one-on-one clients by mentoring entrepreneurs who want to build their business. And you need mindset tools in order to really create lasting change and create results. And and I also have my Facebook group, the Sexiest Life. And that's for creative female entrepreneurs who want to have daily inspiration from me and a little bit of coaching here and there to keep you on.
That's a free program, is that correct?
Free group on Facebook, Sexiest Life, if you want to join me there.
Wow, well, that is so great, Julie. I love your story, the spiritualism that you grew up in and just brought you to this today. Excellent.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to look back and see that something that's been calling you maybe since you were a kid is still calling you to this day, and we all have that, and that is your purpose or your why or whatever you want to call it. But this process of your interviews, Deb, is so smart, because I think it's going to put us all in touch with what our stories are. And there's a lot of power there in what you're truly genius at and what you're truly here and called to do.
Oh, thank you, Julie. You know, I think we can all feel it just listening to your story. You know, you kind of feel a little bit of your own in there. So yeah, thank you so much. Well, I'm so thrilled that you're here, and I'm so thrilled to see everybody. So if you're listening to this after the fact, please get in touch with Julie or friend her on Facebook. Join her group. She is really, really fabulous. And thank you all so much. I am just going to turn off record. So
okay.